So, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. You possess all that Archie craves: a stunning girlfriend, a successful business empire, over 800,000 followers on Instagram, and a wonderfully celebrated series of podcasts. Also, You're just about to take part in the biggest show on TV in Strictly. But before we get there, firstly, before we kick off and really delve into your life, have you ever listened to the Rigbiz pod?
You know what I have? I'm going to be totally honest. I haven't listened to it yet, but I was told about it. I'm aware of it.
I think you're going to enjoy it. Let me just ask you a few key questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Do you own a barber jacket?
I do. You know, I don't own one anymore. I used to own one, but I own one in the countryside.
Okay, yeah. That correct answer. That's above board answer.
Okay, good.
Do you know your way around a kettlebell?
I do more than most. I think I do. Yeah.
Strong. That's some pretty good chat. And obviously we know you're into business, right? You like making coin.
I try. I think I like business. Yeah, I think I enjoy it.
Mate, you're in safe hands. I think
I'm in safe hands. Thank God, guys. I'm enjoying
You're
that.
really going to enjoy the C.H.A.T chat.
Jamie, you've just moved into a new flat with Sophie, who's absolutely gorgeous, by the way. But how's lockdown been for you guys? And surely there's a lot of pressure on you to be on sort of wonderful form in the new boudoir, to christen it with such a gorgeous lady.
Hey, listen, you would think that, but I think once you go out we've been dating for a year now. So once you date for a year, you kind of get to the point where you're a bit, you sort of, that magic sometimes goes. So you kind of have to really warm it up. So we moved into our new place, which is lovely. It's amazing. It's great. We love it. But we need to work on the magic at the moment. That's what we need to work on. I think lockdown kind of ruined that for us a little bit.
That's why I've decided never to have a girlfriend. Just want to stay free and single. I mean,
Archie, do you not have a girlfriend? That surprises me.
No, mate. I don't know how much you know about me, Langers, but I'm CEO of Clapham and also the Chief Chat Officer. Being based in Clapham for the last 15 years, captain and number 10 for the Clapham Falcons. And when you have that sort of title and respect, there is no point in having a girlfriend. I'm sure. Have you been to Inferno's?
I've been to Inferno's. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there before.
Then you realise why I'm not in a relationship. It's one of the best places ever.
Jamie.
Yeah, go.
I want to take you back to your Summerfield days. I actually went to Cot Hill, and you were sort of our arch rival. But anyhow, what are your memories of being shipped to school at such a tender age as 8, I believe? Did it take a while to adapt to boarding life? Were you an emotional wreck, or were you sort of leading from the front, a young lad ready to venture forth?
Yeah, do you know what? I was trying to leave from the front, but I was still one of these guys. I was dropped off at boarding school at 8 years old, and because I was a bit erratic and things like that, I didn't understand the concept of boarding school. I didn't understand it. So I arrived there, and I got shown around the school, and it was like, hey, we're going to boarding school. Are you going to the school? And at the end of the day came, and my mum wasn't there, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Where's my mum gone? And I was given a number, and I was like, holy shit, this sucks. And I still remember to this day, my very first night, I was lying in bed next to a guy called Pelham Groom. He wasn't lying in bed with me. He was lying in the next door bed, and he woke up in the middle of the night. It wasn't in the middle of the night because our bedtime was like 6:30. It must have been like 10 p.m. Woke up and screamed, "Mommy!" And still to this day, I'm shocked that I was sent to boarding school so young. 8 years old.
I was actually, me too. I was sent to Cheltenham College Junior School at the age of 7. So we've got quite a lot of similarities.
7, Archie, is so young.
Yeah, I remember that day quite clearly. My parents were having quite a big argument, and I remember my dad. I don't know who he was talking about, but it must have been about one of the animals or the dog. But he said, "Well, they can fucking have him." And I remember he put me in the car, and he was listening to AC/DC, smoking a cigarette, and those days I think
he was not listening to AC/DC.
You could drink while you drove, or he was. And then we just arrived at the school gates. He went to the boot, and he threw my bags out of the boot onto the doorstep, put me there, and said, "You'll be okay, son," and left me. And that's what I really respect about guys, tough love, and that actually brought me on to be the person I am today.
And at least he called you son. That's a moment of love right there. You got that kind of moment that you're probably after, that he called you son.
No, I am. I mean, unfortunately, these days he doesn't, and it's a matter of respect. He doesn't really like me calling him dad. He likes me to call him by his first name, Alistair. So Alistair, if you're listening, I don't think he listens to this. Freddie, does he?
No, I don't think he does. Jamie, do you ever think back to those days at prep school? I mean, I always do, and go, God, what a weird incident that was. How incredibly odd. I mean, there were different times, but why didn't I question that sort of unfolding, that sort of feeling or that weird experience? What are your weirdest recollections from those times at Summerfields?
I have lots of weird times that I never questioned.
It's time to question them, Jamie.
Yeah, probably lots of it revolves around swimming. Swimming was quite weird at that time. It was all quite odd. We used to get into these weird swimming trunks, and then there was always the rumor that if you didn't have your swimming trunks, I don't know why you wouldn't have your swimming trunks. If you didn't have your swimming trunks, you would have to swim naked, which I don't really understand. So there were weird things like that. What was something that really weird happened?
That sounds like our rugby tour last year.
What happened on that, Archie?
Well, no, it's just similar rules. If you forgot your swimming trunks, you'd have to swim naked. It's just kind of.
Why are you swimming on rugby tour? What are you swimming? Where are you swimming?
We love like if we see a lake on rugby tour, we pull over and we just get in our budgie smugglers and just get into the river. It's just tradition. But it can be quite dangerous. We have had some fatalities, but let's keep this light.
So, what is the odd thing? I mean, I didn't have too many odd things happen. I mean, there were loads of weird scenarios that can happen, but nothing too much. I was quite a naughty kid. I didn't really work too much, so I was kind of always in trouble. So a lot of my time was spent getting detentions and things like that, which wasn't that fun.
Can you remember sort of the early stage mobile phones when internet wasn't really a thing, but you could just get on like the Vodafone 3G early stage app, and everyone would sort of download incredibly slow porn on their phone? Or maybe slightly before your time.
I was back in the day when we had porn mags. So I remember a guy called Will Hawkins had a porn mag, and it was all scrumpled up, and we just kept looking at it in the changing room. I was bought my first porn mag at the age of 8 years old. 8 years old.
By
I was
who?
bought my first by my friend's father.
Oh my god! It's a lovely gift.
Yeah, it's a lovely gift.
We'll
I rate that chat. I actually think if I have kids, that's the way I'll go. I'll say, look, don't get on the internet. Here's a mag. Knock yourself out.
Archie, do you think Alistair would buy you a porn mag?
Me and Alistair have watched porn once before, and it was a strange experience. It was a Christmas again. I think I was probably about 9 or 10, and that was a bad time for him. He just got rid of my stepmom, and we were just me and him at Christmas. And I remember we went for a Wimpy, a local Wimpy. We brought it back. We had chips, and then we watched porn together. And he was I think that's where him teaching me about women. And to be fair, it taught me everything I need to know now, because that's the way I make love. It's hard and fast, and I do a lot of slapping.
Jamie, Archie often looks back fondly at the Feathers Ball. Now we're looking at memories. In fact,
I hopefully, fingers crossed, going this year.
He only stopped officially going a couple of years ago when he turned 30, but he looks to be going back again. He loved it that much. What are your memories of sort of chirping ladies at the age, of what was it, 11, 12, 13? I mean, obviously you went to Summerfields followed by Radley, 2 old boys school. We'll get to Radley shortly, but Feathers, Capital VIP. Were you a smooth operator? Did you have much success on the D floor?
Yeah, so I went to the Feathers Ball. When I started Radley, I went to the Feathers Ball, and I must have been 30. I must have been 14 years old. So when I went at 14 years old, and it was one of these experiences where I think I went and snogged. I think it was something like 22 girls. I think that's good
numbers.
Was that good numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was one of these places that you went to, and you just try to snog as many people as you could. And
that's
also
my ratio in Infernos.
Well, you snog 22 girls a night?
Yeah, roughly.
And so, it was one of these amazing places that you kind of just that weirdly experienced, and I'm sure lots of things were passed around in terms of kissing diseases, and it was a pretty magical time, and it was the best time. And also there was back then we had no social media, and we had pages and Tamagotchis, and that's all we kind of had. And so now it's totally different.
You could get into Tatler there. That was the big aim. That was the big aim. And
the bystander at the back.
Yeah. And that was, I was in there a few times, and that really got my cred up in Cornwall and Paul's there. when I was there with the boys, trying to have the fights with the Harrow boys and David Bay. By the way, guys, I haven't forgotten about that. If I see you in the city, you're mine. But yeah, no, I've got to say, Feathers Ball is decent. It's still good, mate. It's still good. The reason I've gone back over the last couple of years, I realised that there's some really good LinkedIn connections to be had. Not maybe from the kids, but the parents.
Wait. So let me get. So you go to the Feathers to get the links with the parents.
LinkedIn, yeah, connections, yeah. It's more a BD, business development operation for me now. I go there as a chaperone, but the chat is still good. The kids have still got some seriously good bands, and yeah, there's a lot of good chat actually. But then I go as a chaperone, and a lot of the parents are doing pretty well. Spoke to a guy called Henry, but we got on really well. And he actually asked me to call him Bucky, so that's how well we were getting on. And Bucky, he worked in private equity, and I managed to, well, fingers crossed, November, I think I've got a little luncheon at the Ned with him. So look, it's a great place. Highly recommend it. If you're looking to do some business development, earn a bit of coin, head to Feathers. That's your tip for you, Jamie. And also,
it's taken. If you don't think, what I don't understand is if you don't have a kid and you don't have a ticket, how do you get into the building?
Yeah, well, again, they know me. They know me from the years I was there. I was quite a big name, and it's mainly like I'm, I guess, a guest of honor. I go there. If kids are doing something they shouldn't be doing, then I just say, listen, guys, you don't want to be doing that. You know, I've never touched any of that. And I look at me. I'm a semi-pro rugby player working in the city. I've got a 6-figure basic salary. I've got a pad in Clapham. I regularly go skiing. I also play golf in Vadalobo. And I have been to I've been to Greece a few times as well, the Pellegrini Club. So, and then put them on the straight and narrow.
How many times have you been to Greece?
Loads. I used to go to Pellegrini Club every summer with my mum, but then she decided just to go with her new boyfriend this year. But love the Pellegrini Club. Vadalobo is one of my favorite places, and then Dama Bay again in the summer is a cracking place to go. I still venture down there, and yeah, it can get frisky.
Frisky in what way though? What way can it get frisky?
Spin the bottle. They're still playing that down there.
What, on the beach? How do you play spin the bottle on the beach?
You have to bring the right equipment. What I would say is a hardback book and a good bottle. I would recommend a small Sprite bottle. Trick is to have a little bit of Sprite in the bottle. It adds to the spin.
So you get a good spin on it.
Yeah,
Jamie, if we can bring it back for a second, you obviously excelled on the sports field.
Freddie, come on. This chat I'm having is so much better than you're sort of giving him his life story. Let's just carry on this chat. And go, Fred. You crack on, mate. You crack on.
Freddie, hold on. I love the equipment that you need for spin the bottle. Is a slightly full Sprite bottle.
Well, actually, Freddie,
adds to the spin.
Freddie, can we organise to send that equipment to Jamie after this?
Yeah, sure.
Archie, I can just walk to the shop and go get one. I'll drink half a bottle and just play
No, because you won't know the measurements, mate. You won't know the measurements. What I'll do is, Fred, just write that down. Add hardback book. My hardback book. I'll write a little note to Jay in there. Then I'll put the Sprite bottle, and then I'll slip in my business card. And then Jay, we may have to have a little luncheon at the Ned at some point.
Jamie, you obviously excelled on the sports field for your award of a sports scholarship to Radley College, where you turned out to eventually be captain rugby. In an all-boys school, surely that automatically makes you king.
I thought you said at an all-boys school that automatically makes you gay.
Are there some stories there, Jamie, you want to tell before the rugby? I mean, that'd probably get sort of slightly better sound bites for us.
It's slightly better numbers.
Yeah.
I think this sort of sad thing, or maybe not sad thing, but maybe the upsetting thing about school is that especially my school at Radley, it was very much based around sport. So if you were a good sportsman, you automatically, I suppose, had some sort of status, in whatever status that is.
Yeah.
And Archie, I assume you were up there as well.
You are a big rival, Langers. I went to Channel College. Channel College versus Radley was a big fixture, and I honestly believe that I don't know anyone that I played with in the first 15 who has got a bad life. It's a fact. If you're good at sport at school, you're good at life. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in contact with anyone that didn't play sport at my school. They're probably
I
they're
wanted to.
losers.
I
I'm talking
wanted.
to you, Dave White, who was in my shack next to me, always on your computer. Mate, who cares? My name's on the board. Anyway, crack on.
I played a lot of sport, love sport. But I feel like it was a blessing in disguise for me because I wanted to try and become a professional rugby player at one point, and I was always getting injured. I was always too small. I was always trying to like keep the weight on, all that kind of stuff. And then when I went on tour in Italy with the sort of first team, I did my ACL and so never played sport again. From that moment on, I didn't play rugby for like another 10 years until I was about 27 years old. But at school, sport was everything. It was everything.
It still is. It still is.
It still
I
is.
don't know a bad bloke that plays sport in Clapham.
I still hold, Archie, you'll love this one. I still hold the javelin record for under 12s.
Mate.
At West Summerfield.
That's strong. You should put that on your CV right at the bottom. If I was employing you, I saw that, I'd be like, guys, this guy's half decent. Let's get him in.
When I was 8 years old, I threw the cricket ball 54 meters.
That is, again, very impressive. What position were you in rugby?
I played fullback.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, look, if you, Langers, I don't know if you ever want to get involved in the semi-pro scene, but, you know, if you fancy a run out, then, you know, let me know. This season, we're looking at probably Pikey, who's our winger. We call him Pikey just because, unfortunately, his dad went bankrupt and he had to go to state school for lower six and upper six. But he was looking to come in at fullback. But yeah, we could, if you want to have a game, just to let you know the caliber of guys we've got coming. We've got Hask potentially coming to come and play flanker. We've got Danny Kerr who's looking for a game. Who else, Fred? Who else?
We got Tom May, who Jamie
Tom
played
May.
rugby with for England, which we're going to get to shortly. But just to finish off on the school days, obviously your teenage years are sort of crucial years in your development from being a child to an adult. But being stuck in a full-time all-boys boarding school, can you tell us what you guys did to inject some chutzpah into your weekends? Did you break out to drink? How did you meet ladies? How did you cure the horn?
What did we do? Yeah, we kind of broke out into Oxford. That's what we used to do. So we used to go out and drink with the St. Edward's girls. That's what my first girlfriend was from St. Edward's. Teddy's.
Nice.
And so we used to go and do that. We used to, as always, it revolved around drinking. I had a friend called Toby at school who we went and sat in a park once, and we got out of school. We went into Oxford. We went and bought a bottle of gin and some tonic water. And we must have been about 16 at this point. And we didn't have any cups, nothing at all. So we thought, what do we do? So we went and bought plastic gloves, poured the gin into the plastic glove, and then poured the tonic into it and started drinking from it. And we then got on a train back to Radley. And on the train back to Radley, my friend Toby threw up onto the guy who was sitting next to him. And the guy looked at him and said, if I hadn't had a good day, I would punch you. Just to a 16-year-old kid.
Did you keep the bottles? We didn't keep the bottles, no, because that would have framed us. We would have got back to school and they would have seen it. We would have been in trouble. Yeah, but you could have used them to spin the bottle. That's what I'm saying. You know, you weren't.
I thought it was a Sprite bottle.
Yeah, but in those days, you could have taken. I guess. I mean, it depends. In the dorms when I was at school, we always used to play. It was like spin the bottle in my dorm with the guys, just to practice, and that was quite a good implement. And the bottle and dome at base obviously key, but if you have a bottle anywhere, you can just practice on your mates kissing and stuff.
Jamie, can you tell us about that fateful night when you were 16 years old, where I believe you all went to a party in the countryside and experimented with some co-curricular hallucinogenic materials?
that was my friend. That was my friend Spencer. My friend Spencer went to went to a party, and the party was full of cool kids. And Spencer didn't think he was that cool. And one of the kids offered him some mushrooms. So he decided to take the mushrooms, or it was acid. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was acid, actually. And he ended up having a fight with someone who wasn't there. And then he walked into the field with a girl, and started hooking up with the girl. They started having sex.
Strong.
And our friend Ollie walked over to him and shook and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Leave me alone. I'm hooking up with the girl," and there was no one there. And then the next day, he was still having a problem, still hallucinating from whatever he had taken, and he started crying for the whole day because he thought it was going to be like that for the rest of his life. So, yeah, basically, don't ever take drugs. Basically, Spencer and I went to a we were invited to this person's party, this person's 21st. And we were sitting there, and then at the end of the dinner, we were asked to give a speech. We had no idea we were meant to give a speech, so I stood up with Spencer. Spencer was freaking out, and I said, "Hello, everyone, I'm Jamie." Gave a little talk, and I said, "This is my friend Spencer. Now Spencer's going to tell a story." And Spencer didn't know what he'd do, so he told the story of when he took acid. And looked around, all the parents looking at him at this random person's 21st we've been invited to, and he just said at the end, "Don't take drugs, kids." Complete panic, telling a story that was so inappropriate.
I'm probably going to tell that story to the kids at
Jamie, you leave Radley as a hero amongst men in the majority of capacities, but for some reason, academically, you end up in MPW. So what happened? Was there a sort of an early expulsion, or did you just not hit the grades?
I know you've done your research. What happened
it's
was
quite creepy. I'm just going to say, Fred.
I
the
like
amount
it.
You know about this guy.
I like it.
Pretty creepy.
Thank you, Jamie.
I didn't get the grades I was meant to get. I ended up with BCD in my A levels. I did no work whatsoever.
Doesn't matter.
Your
parents know anyone in the city? That's what you got to do. Connections.
Yeah. Just go to the Feathers and get LinkedIn.
Exactly.
So I did that. I failed my A levels. My dad and mum were literally like, "Well, you should probably go and do some retakes." I didn't even think they thought why I should do retakes. Someone told them I should do retakes. So I went and did retakes, and that was at MPW. And at MPW was a place where you go and do them. And at the end of it, instead of getting better grades, I got worse. I ended up with worse.
I'm not surprised
grades.
because the girls at MPW have always held a certain mystique amongst them. They are sort of the daughters of oil barons and oligarchs, and they're just always incredibly attractive. And they've been taking drugs for 15 years, even though they are only 15. And like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is something incredibly attractive about them. I mean, you must have slept with a couple of them, right?
Do you know what? I didn't talk to any of them. And the coolest girl in the school used to turn up in a Lamborghini that was his. He was like 17. I was so out of my league because I was the older kid that turned up late.
Where is this place?
Archie.
I think it's in Kensington.
Yeah,
I'll check it out. I rarely venture outside of Clapham, but okay. And I'm writing this down. NCW.
The MPW. It is next to. It's near Gloucester Road.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So,
I know. Yeah. There sounds like there's some girls there that could be worth me checking out because it's sort of girlfriend-wife material. Good investments, if you know what I mean.
Jamie, was it always an ambition to go and study drama at Leeds, or did that just happen due to the fact that you got worse grades the second time around after the first?
Do you know what happened was I wanted to go to university. My girlfriend at the time was at Leeds University. So I thought, well, that's where I should go. And I didn't get the grades to get in. My offer was AAB. And obviously I'd ended up with bad grades. So I then went up to Leeds University and spoke to the Department of Theatre and Performance. So I knew that was the sort of only way I was going to get in. And I spoke to them and said, "Look, guys, I did really badly in my exams. This and this, you know, I was nervous. I don't do well in exams." And they said, "Okay, we'll see what we can do." And then when my UCAS thing, we did the UCAS thing came through, it said that I had got into Leeds University. And it was only because I went up to these guys and begged for them to let me in.
Mate, that's smart. Networking. I like it.
How was the adjustment?
It's sales. That's sales. That's sales 101. He's gone up there. He's connected them face to face, shook the hand, sealed the deal. That's strong. I'm impressed. That's blowing me away. But I've got to be honest, that's probably the most impressive thing so far. That's impressive. You'd make it
like that, Archie.
That's impressive.
Jamie, how was that sort of adjustment period for sort of a relatively spoilt, posh young man to go up to Leeds and not know many people around there, you know, incredibly sort of big, vibrant nights out, northern folk, a working town? I mean, how was the adjustment?
Do you know what? My very first night there, when I went up to Leeds, we went to a nightclub, and I think it was Oceana. I think that was the first one we went to, and it was my very first night, and I met a guy called Cozzy, and we drove into town. As we were driving into town, I looked out the window and I saw a group of girls beating up a guy, and I thought, what is this place? And it was a pretty mad experience for the next 3 years. I mean, it was pretty, it was fun, it was interesting, it was different to wherever I'd been, but I kind of wanted to escape London because I'd always been in London, so I thought Leeds would be the furthest way possible. So that's why I kind of did it. You
obviously studied acting then, I believe, under my great friend George Chilcott. Maybe not under, maybe alongside. But, yeah, wonderful man. But did you?
He's a great dude.
He's a great guy. Did you truly have?
Sorry, who's this guy? Who's George Chilcott?
Oh, he's just a very charming cultured director, mate. You know, something slightly above your paycheck. But did you truly have ambition?
He's a very good dude.
He's wonderful. Did you truly have an ambition to become? I think he may be a teacher director now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, probably got a very small basic salary. Let's crack on.
Jamie, did you have ambition to become an actor? Or was it merely a course, you know, and then sort of a course of life which least appalled you? Obviously, you were just saying you went up there and begged them to let you in. But once you were on the course and you were sort of falling in love, I believe you did Journey's End. I can't remember. Maybe that's getting a bit too creepy.
Yeah, I did Journey's End.
You know, did you then have ambitions to go into acting afterwards? I mean, obviously you ended up in Chelsea. We'll touch on that shortly, but you know what I mean. So it's slightly different.
Do you know what? I always wanted to act. I always wanted to go into acting. But then what happened is that I basically realized that it was just going to be too complicated to go and do that, because I wanted, you know, in order to go acting, my sister's an actor, and in order to do that, you basically have to, you know, go to auditions. You have to do these different things. So I kind of did it just to, do you know what? My theatre performance degree, it was just there to waste time to understand what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to go into some sort of entertainment, and that's why I chose reality TV, because it was the easy way in.
And can you just take us quickly through how you went from leaving Leeds Uni to becoming a star in Chelsea? Obviously, you're the longest. I won't say a veteran because that's not a very nice word, but like you're the longest serving cast member.
It's a great show. I actually really enjoy it. It's what TV should be. I mean, the people on there are great, and it's good to see. I'm a massive fan of it, Jamie. You know, it's up there. I mean, I've got, obviously, look, my first calling is love watching rugby on TV and love living with the Lions, but Made in Chelsea is decent. And I you know, it's a shame because I tried to get Made in Clapham off the ground. It just didn't happen.
It didn't work?
No, because it was
like, I would think that it would work. I would think that it would work. I'm sorry that it doesn't. Someone said to me once, Made in Coventry would work.
No, that's disgusting. I mean, why would anyone want to see Coventry? I don't even know where that is. But you know, Made in Clapham was similar. I just said, look, it's guys with bigger rigs, eat a little bit more, a lot more protein-based chat on there, and then the girls are more sort of sporty. And it would be based around the sort of
what do you mean sporty? What do you mean the girls are more sporty?
Well, they're like netball girls, hockey girls. I can't go into too much about the netball girls just because there's a sort of lawsuit happening at the moment. Jennifer, I just want to say, you know, look, we could sort this out. We don't have to go through lawyers. But anyway, no, but I just think, you know, it would be more sort of guys in the city playing. I had the idea that every episode would involve like at least 10 minutes of me sort of playing touch rugby with the boys. I thought that would sort of be different from Made in Chelsea, but they didn't go for it. And I'm not bitter about it at all, so don't worry.
Just episodes of you playing touch rugby with the boys.
Yeah, it would have been great, because my chat when I played touch rugby is just like everyone always says, like, mate, your chat is so good. Like there was a guy who turned up wearing flip-flops the other day at touch rugby, and I was like, mate, where are your shoes? Where are your shoes? They're in my bag. And I was like, right, your name is now Baggy. And that stuck. That kind of chat is, a lot of the guys just say that would have been great and Made in Clapham.
So, Jamie, how did you actually end up on the show?
What happened is that a group of my buddies were asked to do it. Basically, they wanted to create a TV show for MTV, which was called Smokers, I think it was. And anyway, that didn't happen. So they then wanted to create another show, which was going to be called Chelsea Girls, and that was by Channel 4. And my friend Spencer and Caggie and all these people were doing that, who were my buddies. And I kind of a bit like, oh, I would just never do that. So I didn't do the first series. And then what happened was I got a 2-2 from theatre performance at Leeds. And I thought, well, I better go and try
Slowly
and do something.
improving.
He's slowly improving. And I thought, well, I've got to go and do something. I kind of want to go into entertainment. I kind of want to set up a sweet company at the same time. Maybe this is a good place to do marketing and things like that. So that's how I started to do it. They asked me to come on the second series as well. And I kind of said, okay, let's go and do it.
I still remember your first shot, and I mean, I now sound actually quite creepy, but I just remember that because
now it's sounding really creepy.
Yeah, I think that was the golden age of being
to be honest, mate.
It was the golden age. It was the golden age.
Fred, we've been doing this podcast for quite a while. You've never asked me any of these in-depth questions. I'm interesting, mate. I've just told a great story and answered it about a guy called Baggy.
Yeah, but mate, it's a bit like when we had Haskell on and you wanted me to ask the same questions as I asked him about his rugby career. It's not quite the same. But Archie does get quite a lot of people stopping him for photos. This is something we may have in common in the bar of Clapham. And sometimes, he's not feeling great. He's been out on a big one. He's, sort of doing the walk of shame with one of the ladies from Inferno's. He's got things on his mind. Then suddenly your fans are embracing you. They're all over you. What's been your worst experience with fans, both physically and digitally?
Do you know what? I had a lot of people at the beginning for some reason. We would go and we would have after parties we would do these really odd things where we go and do these things called personal appearances where we go to different nightclubs around the country, and we would have after parties back in the hotel rooms. And this was when I was younger. And what would happen is that my wash bag, so we'd have to take a wash bag or whatever, my wash bag was always stolen. I'm not kidding. My wash bag was stolen, I reckon, 5 times.
That sounds like
5 separate times. Who takes a wash bag? And so that's
that is very odd.
Yeah, it's really odd. It was really odd. So they took all like my shave and everything from that. So that was pretty weird. In terms of, she must have been in her 80s, and she was driving her car. She was being driven, and I was walking down the road, and she leant out the window and she said, Jamie from Ain't Chelsea. And I said, how you doing? And she said, the things I would do to you if me and you were naked in a room together. And she was about 80.
Surely, I mean, we had David Birtwistle. I don't know if you watched Too Hot to Handle during lockdown with Sophie.
Yeah.
But, we had David Birtwistle on, if you know who he is.
Whistler, yeah. Bloody
and he told us that he gets sent videos of girls sort of, playing with themselves every single night. I mean, I know your girlfriend may be in the kitchen there, but like, does that still happen? I mean, or did it happen before you met? I mean, you can't
that
control
never
these
happened
things.
to me. That never happened to me. I think we had a lot of Twitter, and then sort of Instagram and social media came in a little bit later. But I never had that for some reason. I don't know why.
Are you saying that since you've got a girlfriend, you've lost, people sort of switched off from the fact that you may be a sort of eligible?
I don't know. I just think it's because I think they just never did it to me. I don't know why. I was just one of those people. My friend Alex Mitten always got it, and I never got anything. I don't know why. I was always very upset. So
I get quite a lot. I mean, how many followers you got on Instagram?
I think 800 and something thousand.
Okay, it's a little bit more than me. Yeah. Okay.
What do you have, Archie?
I don't know. I think it's roughly off the top of my head, it's like 37,534, 31. Yeah, so get quite a lot of videos and girls. I'm very popular in the Clapham area. Get a lot of people stopping me, asking for photos, and I'm more than happy to do it. The only time I don't like it is when I'm walking to the tube in the morning having my egg whites, and that's the time I just want to focus. But yeah, no, I get a lot of guys actually sending me photos of their rigs, and I appreciate it. I like it. I don't think I'm doing it in a weird way. I like the videos. I like seeing a guy in good shape. And there's this guy actually sent me a video the other day. It's just him in some budgie smugglers. He's got a fantastic V going in. So respect. He said he's a big CrossFitter. And then he's just said, do you want to do business? And I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, what a way to introduce yourself. I'm impressed. Yeah. And I said, yeah, just send me your name and number. Let's get it done. And we're meeting next Wednesday at 8:30. I said, do you want to do it in the day? But he said, no, nighttime's better for him. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's a great way to connect with people.
Hey, I agree.
you are the longest serving cast member of in Chelsea now. So how come you've stayed so long? And have there been times when you've nearly quit? If so, when? And also, surely you have some sort of, now you're part of the furniture. Do you have any sort of creative input with the producers?
Do you know, I have no creative input whatsoever, but the reason why I kind of stayed on doing it for so long was because I think persistency is key. I think that the people who kind of quit things early are the ones who probably aren't that prepared to go the distance. So I kind of stayed doing it just because I always just wanted to be in entertainment. And I think also it's particularly hard for guys who go into entertainment, and I had the idea of wanting to be a presenter and all these different things. And so in order to do that, I kind of had to stay on Made in Chelsea because I thought that was the ticket in order to achieve that. So I kind of stayed on for as long as I could, hoping that I would get that big presenting job that never came. So I just
Did you ever get abused by sort of the working man?
Sorry, say again.
Have you ever been abused by the working man?
Yeah. Get abused a lot. No, not too much. But I also did think, also at the end of the day, doing Made in Chelsea was, it was a lot of fun. You get to hang out with your buddies and get paid to do it. And it was just a good time. You got to travel the world, do different things. And it was kind of a great experience.
Lango, I've actually got a question.
Uh-huh.
Obviously you said like massive fan of Made in Chelsea. Love it. Absolutely love it. Some seriously good chat on that. I really want to know, when you do have sort of these ferocious arguments with the cast members, how real is it? Like, because you've rinsed a few people, and I always thought if we met, it would kick off, because not in a good way, we'd be like rinsing everyone, because you'd have like all the chat and like this, like you've got sort of a slender rig, but I'd like sort of a short lid, and I've got like flowing locks, like good lid. I'm ripped. I'm into my CrossFit. I'm not shy of a flip flop, and I just thought it'd kick off. But how real is it when you kick off at people? Obviously, you've had your beefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how real is it?
Yeah, do you know what? It's real. Like, as much as people don't realize, it's not scripted. It's completely real. So whenever you have those arguments, it's pretty full on. Yeah, but you with Made in Chelsea, it's one of these things you can't just sit there and just talk about the weather. You have to talk about things that are relevant in terms of TV shows. That's relationships, people that you don't like at the time, all those different things. So yeah, it's tricky, because then you have to hang out with these people a lot and work with these people, and so you have a lot of fallouts and disagreements and lots of different things. So yeah, it's totally real.
Do you think there's room? Do you think there's room for like a guy from Clapham to come on? I'm
surprised, Archie, they haven't called you up already. I'm surprised they haven't done it. They're missing a trick.
Me too. Because I always thought that I'd be like, they'd capture me. I'd be in my university rugby shorts, flip flops, hoodie, just sipping on a protein shake, coming around a corner, and then bump into one of the beautiful yachts, and just give them some seriously good, chirps. And imagine that would it. Producer would be like, get this guy. This guy is so money. Get him on. But I always thought I could be a replacement for Spenny Matthews. You've got sort of similar look.
Jamie, do you ever question how some of the new characters especially have got through the casting net? I mean, not naming any names, but the Sam Holmes, Sam Cousins, etc. And being a critique of your own work, surely you're appalled that they let some of these people through, because it just lessens the show and makes you look kind of slightly ridiculous when you're obviously not. You're a genius.
I have no choice over the casting. So hey, listen, I think there's a sort of casting process that goes on, and it's always going to be friends of friends and different people like that. But everyone plays a part, whoever they are, and they always kind of are friends of friends. And it's not sort of a process where it's like an audition process. So I think everyone who's joined the show is they're all part of the team. So
well, we're about to come on.
Langers, your dishwasher's open.
Yeah, I know it's open.
Okay, yeah, just checking. By the way, sweet NutriBullet in the back. I like that. Well,
Thanks, buddy. That's my girlfriend's.
What are you making with those? What are you making?
I think my girlfriend made some soup.
Okay. Highly recommend, if you want a good shake in the morning, kale, spinach, boiled chicken, and egg whites with a dash of honey and a bit of ginger. Mix that up, buddy. Really good.
Is that good? Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Can you send that to me?
So money shake.
Send that in the ingredients the same as the Sprite bottle.
Yeah,
so
I'll
I
put
can
that in the box. I'll
put that in the box.
Yeah.
Jamie-
I honestly think you and your girlfriend will have a whale of time with that Sprite bottle. Honestly.
I have a couple of friends who are close to going on the show yet decided to put last minute, but they did give me an insight into the general sort of contracts, which I found incredible in a wonderful way with the production company and E4. But apparently they own 20% of any future businesses you may be involved in, re Candy Kittens. But saying that, seeing as they do connect you directly with tens of millions of people, a series of multi-BAFTA winning, surely that makes sense for both parties. Am I right?
So I think there was it doesn't so much happen with business. So if you set up a business, that doesn't happen. But in terms of at the beginning, yeah, I think, it was more NBC. So you're sort of a commodity, right? So what would happen is that they would give you the platform to do whatever you wanted to do. But then, yes, they would act as an agent almost. So they would take an agency fee from putting you on a TV show. Some say ridiculous, some say very smart from them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what I mean? So they're a business that make money out of the people that they cast. But that doesn't actually happen anymore. So it was just for the lucky few who started it that it happened. So
Okay.
me, which was great.
Well, it's incredible. I was also going to say, one thing I just want to clear up off camera or on camera. The Rosie May story. I mean, even those of us who want to believe that happened, obviously it fucking didn't. So can we just clear that up or not? Well, we know it didn't happen. I mean, I've been lied to before, but I mean, come on. That was just too much. Come on. Jamie.
I don't know, man. I can't really remember my
Freddie, you're like a hard-hitting journalist. It's impressive.
Yeah. I believed a lot in life, but that Rosie May tale, I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I'll stand by it, Jamie.
Unfortunately, I think it was real.
Oh my God. Well, that is in a weird way wonderful. There is something about her. I must say, like, she annoys me greatly, but her recipes on Instagram TV, I despise every moment of them, but at the same time, I can't stop watching. And there is something about that, and obviously you fell down the same trap. But anyway, do you ever think to yourself what you'd be doing had you not gone on MIC, I should say, and made it, in such a successful show? It's greatly down to Spencer and yourself, and now
You
just
do well in the city, mate. You do well in the city.
Well, I know your brother went into the city, but I mean, like Frankie, Tara, Eloise, and Natalie Habs. Would that caliber of lady been achievable had you not been such a star? And what do you think you'd be doing?
Do you know what I think that I would probably be I think I always wanted to run a sweet business. I always wanted to run a sweet business. That's always what I do. So I think what I would have done is I would have done something for myself. I would have tried to set up a business. Whether or not it would have worked, I have no idea. But that's definitely what I would have done.
Have you thought about doing protein sweets? Just a little,
I haven't thought about that, but that could be a good idea.
No, you should. Okay, I'll put a little note in the box. Don't worry.
Jamie, we're just going to do rugby and then business, and then we'll let you go back to your beautiful girlfriend. But going back to rugby, you represented England at the Twickenham Stoop alongside our head coach of the Clapham Falcons in Tom May versus the rest of the world, where you suffered 3 cracked ribs thanks to ex-All Black Brad Thorn, an incredible tackle you can watch on YouTube. Why did you decide to come back out of retirement to play, and what was the whole week like training alongside some of those rugby and sort of even celeb legends?
It was amazing.
Gary a legend.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences I've ever done. I mean, those guys were my heroes growing up. So playing alongside them was incredible. And also, it was meant to be like this sort of fun game, but actually it turned into a really competitive rugby match with ex-professionals and professionals. So it was pretty full on. Yeah, I got tackled by Brad Thorn, who's 6'10" and 19 stone. And I was 11 stone and 5'8" on a good day. He tackled me and broke 3 of my ribs. But it was an amazing experience. I would never take it back. It was incredible.
That's rugby. That you've just summed up what the beauty of rugby is.
Yeah.
What was the night out like?
Jay, you have to come out with the Clapham Falcons. You'd love it. You honestly, have you ever done a bum funnel?
No, what's that?
You'd love it. It's basically initiation. It's where you lie on the floor. I take my pants down and I just squat just above your mouth and let the pint go down my bum crack into your mouth. It's the initiation we do. It's great. You'd love it. We love it. I still do them every night we go out with the debutants because it's just seriously good chat. On a serious note, sorry, Freddie, but your questions are quite boring. I don't know how much you know about us, Jamie, but we're quite big in the rugby world. We're sort of #1 rugby podcast, and this Christmas we're releasing a rugby song, hopefully to get Christmas #1. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Do you think you'd be keen to get on that and maybe sing a verse just for the chat?
Hey, listen, Archie, if you want me there, I'm there 100%. I'll do it without a doubt.
Freddie, write that down.
I'll be. Oh, yeah, write it down, Freddie. I'll be there.
Jamie, we're going to move on to the business section, which is newly sponsored by Sons, which we will delve into very shortly. But firstly, we must talk about Candy Kittens. It's been an incredible success story since its launch and is now the fastest growing confectionery company in the UK. It deals at Waitrose, Sainsbury's, Asda nationwide. It's quite a brave move to try and take on the confectionery giants, especially in a time where everyone's trying to eat healthy, but I know you've got your vegan, gluten-free thing going on. But what led you to do it, and how involved in the business are you?
Well, I think any taking on any sort of giants is quite tricky, and the reason why it's tricky is because it's the margins that you have to face, and anyone who's in like FMCG or selling any sort of product based, has a product based business such as like food and things like that. That's what's tricky, is that the margins are so tight. The reason why I wanted to do it is because I just always loved sweets. As a kid, my brother used to tell me stories of Jamie and Sweet World to help me fall asleep at night because I was scared of the dark. And from that moment on, I just had this fascination that I want to have a sweet world. And so when I first started Candy Kittens and Archie like this, I wanted to make it a mix between Willy Wonka and Hugh Hefner. That was the idea behind it. But that was a terrible idea. So I just set up Candy Kittens, and yeah, we do. We sell packets of sweets. We sell it around the UK. We're fastest selling sweet company in the UK. And they're delicious. And if you eat them, they make you incredibly happy.
That does sound amazing.
I don't eat sweets, but yeah, it sounds great. I mean, I'm on a strict diet at the moment, just trying to get my body.
Actually, you'll like these ones, trust me. I'll send you some.
Okay. Let me send my package first, and you get the benefits of the bottle, and then you can send me some sweets. I'll probably lure some girls back from Clapham back for some sweets.
So Jay, talking business, Archie runs AC Limited, which is an investment and invention vehicle for his ideas. Recently, since 2020, sort of resumed, as it were, we've had the chassis stripper, which is a laxative-based drink to help weight loss, which is not legally cleared by the FDA yet in the country.
Very well, though, mate.
We've got C.H.A.T, which is a 6-week sort of online chat development app. We've got the 48-hour Viagra. We've got voice conversion, which converts commoners or state school educated people's voices into the Queen's English for phone interviews. And then also the isolation pill, a rugby ball, which turns into a flashlight during isolation for those rugby guys who were missing out on sex. So as an incredible successful businessman yourself, which of these sounds the most sort of attractive as an investment?
I like the flashlight one. I think the flashlight one.
Isolation pill.
Honestly, I use it the whole time. It's really comfortable. Very snug. It's very snug. It's very much like, I sort of describe it as the early day. It sort of gives you that vibe of having sex in the early days. It's comfortable. There's not much you can do. It's still one way you can use it.
Okay, got it.
So, sort of Pelagoni Club when you're 17. Is that what you're trying to say, Arch?
Yeah. Mate, I'd had sex before I was 17. I think like 14. Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, talking about an incredibly exciting...
He's my mum's friend.
And successful business, you make it no secret that you've had some work.
Stevenson.
You've had some work done on your barnet, Jay, and now once more possess a delightful lid. So what better time to mention our new partner for the business section, Sons, which is a men's health brand that's helping guys with one of the key health issues they don't often talk about, how to keep their hair. They do this by offering free online consultations with GPs, provide a range of licensed and medically proven products preventing and treating hair loss. And they deliver results in, over 9 out of 10 men. Free consultations with a doctor, in less than 5 minutes, and results can be seen from 3 months. So, go to sons.co.uk. We'll talk about that in a second. But firstly, Archie, can you tell us, how important it is in your view at any age to ensure you have a strong lid, and especially when all hope is not lost about regaining it? And then Jamie, the same.
Yeah, for me, I think having a great lid. I mean, I'm bringing back the gap here at the moment. I'm growing it long, and it is doing well in business. When I slick it back, I look like Patrick Bateman. But yeah, strong lid. It says a lot about you. And there's a few guys at CrossFit who are losing it. I mean, one guy's got a quiff, but it's sort of halfway around his head. It almost looks like a wave coming over, and he's actually, I gave him my Sons, and he's reaping the benefits. Strong lid, it gives you everything. It gives you the power to go into business meetings. I rate it. I mean, luckily I'll never need it. I've got a fantastic lid. Once you've got your lid sorted, get your rig sorted, and then you get your chat, and then you earn your coin.
Your coin. Listen, I think so. I'm an investor in Suns. I think it's, as you said, Red, it's a sort of men's health brand focusing on hair loss at the moment, but it's going to go into other things. And 67% of men actually lose some sort of hair at some point in their lives. And what's amazing about Suns is that it's a prevention. What it does is it stops those worries and the concerns that a lot of males have. As I said, I'm very open and honest about my experience with my hair. I receded with my hair, and I went down the route of having a hair transplant at the front of my head, which was an intense process. I didn't think it was going to be that intense. It was so intense. And it took ages to heal. It may not have worked. All these things, it's expensive. And if I'd known about Suns before this, I would have used it. So the great thing about Suns is that it works. It's incredible. It's not obvious. It's a subscription-based model that arrives at your door every single month, and it looks great. It feels great. It kind of works perfectly well, and I'm super happy that I'm one of the investors at the moment, and the business is doing great, and it's helping a lot of people around the UK, growing their hair back.
Well, guys, if you want results in less than 3 months, go and take the consultation online. It's completely free, and you can do it in less than 2 minutes. Why the fuck wouldn't you? I mean, come on, strong coin, strong chest, strong rig, strong lid. So go to suns.co.uk and use the code RIGBIZ20 to get £20 off your first order. I believe Suns,
There's probably quite a lot. There's probably quite a lot of guys who need it, who listen to this podcast.
Yeah, just go out.
A lot of guys who would pretty shit chat listen to this to try and improve their banter. And, I'd imagine some of those guys are sort of thinning on top. Those kind of guys who sit by their laptop all day in a dark room. So
exactly.
Guys, please use it. Please use it.
Exactly.
Jamie, you've been absolutely superb.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Just to finish off, of course, last year you were meant to be on Strictly, but sadly suffered an injury. Conspiracy theories flew around the internet. What did actually cause the injury, and how excited are you? Whatever. But how wonderfully intrigued and excited are you now for this sort of upcoming series? Surely that's going to catapult you into superstardom. You've always claimed and craved fame, and it's now it's been there for many a year, but now it's about to go into superdrive mode. So how excited are you? And have you had your first practice session? I mean, it's starting when this comes out in a couple of days.
Yeah, I haven't started yet. Training starts pretty soon. I'm really excited. I just can't wait to get into it. It's honestly just the most incredible experience. And I only did a bit of it last year, and I hurt my foot in the very first dance. So hopefully this year I don't do that. And I just can't wait to get going. It's going to be incredible.
I'm rooting for you.
Thanks, Arch. I appreciate it, buddy.
I'll be putting it out to my followers, and I'm getting clapping right behind you.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
I should say before you go, Jamie, one of our big listeners, the guy who writes in probably the most is a guy called Wiley2504, Charlie Wileman.
Yeah.
He writes in quite regularly. Just he's obviously got problems with women, and we try and help him out. And I was just thinking he probably could do with a bit of the Suns. So Wiley2504, we'll send you some to try and help you with the ladies. And
Jamie,
stop eating those Dominoes 2 for Tuesdays. That's really not going to help you.
Jamie, just 2 quick ones to finish off. Are you worried / have you discussed the Strictly curse with Sophie? Perhaps she'll accidentally, forge another leg injury on you whilst you sleep softly at night. And actually, answer that one first, and then we'll finish.
No, do you know what? I'm not scared. It's going to be great. Sophie's just the best thing in the world, and I would be some sort of fool for anything to happen to that. So
you
there's
really would,
no curse here for sure.
Jamie, fine.
Langers, if you do have a good partner, she's single.
Yeah, I'll send her your way.
Yeah. Because the best thing about this 10 p.m. curfew is I went on a date the other day, but I arrived about 9 because I did a spin class, and we only managed to have 2 drinks. But luckily, we didn't realize. But my flat's open 24 hours, so we went back there and had a drink, and it was an interesting night. Put it this way, I didn't have to use the rugby ball flashlight.
Jamie, last one. Finally, about 7 years ago, you said your 4 most desirable assets to have, or what you crave, are to be able to send your kids to private school, enjoy constant ski holidays, and have houses both in the country and London. All these years really later, is that still the same, or is there anything you'd like to add to the list?
Did I say that?
You did at the Times.
God.
Big interview at the time, I suppose.
Huge interview. Listen, I just think for me, being happy and being surrounding yourself with good buddies and things like that, that's all you kind of need. Love and friendship and family. That's all I care about.
And a lot of money. Trust me. In my world, you need to have money to survive. I mean, you can have love and happiness, but it's not going to pay for you going skiing without a Lobo. Let's face it.
Yeah. Okay, Arch.
Jamie,
Thanks
thank you so much for
mate.
coming on, mate.
Buddy,
You're absolutely
Cheers,
you've
brilliant.
been cracking.
guys. Thanks
Cheers,
so
Jamie,
much,
mate.
team.
Cheers.
Good luck
Take
on
it
Strictly,
easy.
mate.
Bye,
Have fun
guys.
tonight. Cheers, Jay.
Thanks, guys.
Best of luck.
See you later.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Bye,
Cheers,
bye,
mate.
bye,
Thanks
bye,
a
bye.
lot. Bye-bye.